Episode 040 with Nourish with Renata. Welcome to another episode of One Voice Can Change the World podcast. I'm your host, Tina Bangle, and I'm so grateful you're here. I know that this time has been really hard for us all, and I'm sorry I haven't been I've kind of been out of action these past few weeks on this podcast with the recent changes we're seeing in the world today due to COVID-19. I have had to make some changes and decisions with my business as well as my family life. Here in Australia, we're not in lockdown. Schools are still open, but I've decided to keep my son at home from school because I just don't want him to be at risk of getting the virus. My husband, who is also a school teacher, has taken leave because of his asthma and heart condition, and now we're all at home safe, and I'm so grateful for that. And we're conducting our lessons online. The shops here are still open. Everything is slowly shutting down, but honestly, I wish that the government would be a little bit faster. These are really scary times, but I'm happy that I can teach from home via Zoom and provide students with my 6-week singing mastery online course. So I'm really grateful for that. I read something last night which I loved, and I wanted to share it with you. So here it is. Corona has proved that everything around us is temporary. Things our lives revolved around, work, gym, malls, movie, society, have all gone for a toss as we are learning to live without them. It has taught us that in the end, it's your own home and family that keep you safe. I thought that was really powerful, and I pray that you're safe and well at home, and for the people that don't have homes to go to or don't have family, I pray that they have resources that they can turn to or friends, and that can be their family to be safe during these uncertain times. This is why my next guest's work is so important. My guest today is my beautiful friend, Renata. She is the CEO and founder of nourishwithrenata.com, the healthy food blog. She is passionate about helping people forget the stereotypes that healthy food is boring and bland, and discover how delicious healthy food should be. Renata shares quick and healthy recipes that the whole family will love through her blog and YouTube channel. Renata is also the COO and nutrition coach for Modern Fitness. She guides clients to nourish their bodies in a holistic way that is sustainable for lifestyles and for their lifetime. I love Renata's 5 tips that she's going to share with us today. And this episode was so fun. I loved how our chat together. We not only talk about meal prep and how to nourish your body, but we also talk about her love for music and singing and the importance of getting out of your own way, not only for your singing voice, but also just with the work that you do. Your work is so important. So without further ado, please welcome my beautiful friend, Renata. Welcome to One Voice Can Change the World podcast. I'm your host, Tina Bangle, vocal coach and professional vocalist. In each episode, we bring you an inspiring person doing wonders in the music industry today. We hope to give you motivating messages to help you navigate towards your musical dreams. I'm so grateful you're here, and now let's give you something to sing about. Welcome, Renata. Thanks so much for being part of the One Voice Can Change the World podcast. We're finally here. I'm so glad you're here.
Yes, me too. Thank you so much for having me. And just like you mentioned, we've been talking about this for ages, and we're finally getting to sit down and talk all things music and food, which is basically our two favorite subjects.
Yes. Yeah, my favorite. Food is my favorite.
Me too.
So tell everybody who you are and what you do and who you help.
Okay, so once again, I'm Renata. I have the healthy food blog nourishwithrenata.com, and I am super passionate about sharing healthy and delicious recipes with people. I think that so often people think, like, when you say healthy food, you're only talking about salads and they're really boring and really bland. And I am a huge advocate for never having boring and bland healthy food. I feel like healthy food should always be delicious and it should always nourish your body, because I have seen firsthand from making specific choices about the food that I put into my body and into, my husband and into my kids, that it can have a profound impact on the way that you feel, on your energy levels, on how you can interact with others during the day, by simply being really thoughtful around the food that you choose to eat. So that is really my mission. I want to help show people that when we're thoughtful about the food that we put into our bodies, it can have a huge impact on ourselves, on our health, obviously. And then also it can help us to also not feel like we have to miss out on any kind of food. There's always healthier alternatives for the foods that we may have grown up with that might not be so suitable for our bodies anymore.
Yeah, and I love the recipes that you come up with. And I've made so many of your recipes, your healthy bars and your the Ferrero Rocher balls that you make, and they're amazing.
Thank
And
you.
congratulations for doing the live cooking demonstration too. Just this morning, I watched it while I woke up.
Well, I'm glad I could help you wake up. That was my very first live cooking show. And since we're close to Valentine's Day, I wanted to do a healthier version of a chocolate truffle. And so we did that. We did one which was sweetened with stevia. And also you could make it vegan because I used coconut cream in it too. And it comes together really quickly. But I think the funniest part about that live was my son Dean actually came into the kitchen and started helping out.
Oh,
Yeah, it was really cute, but also he was asking a lot of questions.
oh, that's the best. That's so much fun having him around.
Yeah, he's a
His
good
brother
helper.
too.
Yes.
I wish I couldn't stay for the whole thing, for the whole live video, because I had to get Christian ready for school.
Right,
but
yeah.
it was really fun to watch. So
Yeah,
I'm looking
thank
forward
you.
to watching the rest with your son in it.
Thanks.
My favorite meal is your maple Dijon chicken, and it's my favorite. It's not only my favorite, but it's Christian and Rob's favorite as well. Um, and I and if you don't know, Renata's just put out the prep meal prep course, and that's where the recipe came from. And it's a really great meal prep course that you've created, and yeah, it's their favorite. So we had it on Sunday night, and it was just so easy. Like having Sunday night, I did all not Sunday night, but during the day, I did all my meal prep. But they wanted it for a Sunday meal, and so it looks like I've got to cook it again this week.
Okay, well, I am so glad that they enjoy it. And just like you mentioned, it's so easy. So I kind of like don't feel bad when I have to make it again as well.
Oh, it's so easy. But the thing is that I haven't told you, but I've been using American mustard. You know,
Oh, really?
yeah. And only because I haven't got Dijon mustard in the fridge. So I'm just like, oh, well, I've got heaps of this American mustard. We only use it ever when we have hot dogs. So,
Right.
so
Yeah.
I thought I'd use that, and it tastes really good.
Oh, wow. I'm so impressed. I'll have to try that actually, because we have American mustard just for like hot dogs or burgers, but we don't have it a lot. So I'll have to try it
Yeah.
with
So
that.
I thought, oh, I'll just use up what we have, and then yeah. So and that's one of the tips that you bring up in the meal prep, is that it's really cool that you can go and look in your fridge, see what you've got, and use that up.
Yes. Yeah. So my course is called 30-Minute Meal Prep. And I think a lot of the times when we think about meal prep, we think we have to prep food for like the entire week. And you basically eat the same thing every single day for every single meal. And that can be so overwhelming for people, especially when you're just starting out with meal prepping. So my whole philosophy is to do a really quick 30-minute meal prep. And cook enough food for 2 to 3 days, obviously depending on the number of people in your family, how much you guys eat and that kind of thing. But because of that, I came up with this recipe for the maple Dijon chicken because I love to take one ingredient, such as the chicken breast, which is in this recipe, and use it in two very different ways. So one of the ways was this maple Dijon chicken, which is so flavorful. You have like that tanginess from the mustard, and you have like that slight smoky sweetness from the maple. It's such a great contrast. And it goes so well with the chicken, and you compare it with pretty much anything like rice or pasta or, roasted vegetables. It's so versatile. It's so easy. And so I'm so grateful that you tried the recipe and that your family loves it.
Oh, they love it so much. And you're right, like meal prep doesn't have to last for the whole entire week. And I know like for you, you do Sundays and Wednesdays, right?
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's something that I kind of trying to work out as well, which day suits at the moment because school has just started. So
Right.
Everybody's timetables are always changing, and we're always juggling things. But what are your 5 tips that you can share with our listeners to make sure that we nourish our bodies even though we're so busy, and just making sure that we get enough food inside of us to
Yes.
function?
Definitely. I think that the first thing that we all need to remember, and it's so easy nowadays with social media to really compare ourselves and our bodies and what we eat to what we see other people doing or what other people are eating. But it's really important to remember that there's no one size fits all diet. There's no one best diet that works for everyone. So because of that, it kind of leads me into thinking, you really need to pay attention to what works well for your body, which is my second tip. So not only remembering that there's no, one diet for everyone, we got to find the diet that works for us. And so we really need to pay attention to when we eat a certain food, how do we feel after we eat it? Because say for instance, you eat like a loaf of bread, or, you eat like some bread and you feel really sluggish and tired afterwards. That can be a great indicator to you that maybe that type of bread or that amount of bread doesn't work for your body. And then moving forward, you can consider when you go to a restaurant and they have like that delicious bread basket sitting on the table, then you can remember how you felt afterwards, after that previous time when you were eating bread, and think, okay, I don't want to feel that way again. Maybe I'll just have less bread, or maybe I'll opt to eat something else instead of the bread. So I think we just really need to be more intentional and be more thoughtful around how we feel after we eat foods. And then conversely, maybe you eat something and you feel amazing afterwards. Like you eat like a beautiful, like kale salad with chicken breast, and you just feel incredible. You just feel so energized and like ready to take on the world. Like these are all great things to make a note of so you can really figure out what works best for your body. So then my next tip, which is I really think a lot of people have trouble with this, is drinking enough water. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I really think that people drink way less water than they imagine. And if you kept track of how much water you're drinking, you would be shocked at how little you drink. These days, like everyone's drinking sodas or like, those energy drinks or tons of coffee or tea to stay awake in the afternoon. And this can really fill up your stomach and then also make it feel like you've been drinking water, but really you haven't. And a lot of the things like sodas or coffee or tea are actually diuretics, which mean that it releases more water from your body than what you're taking in. So as a rule of thumb, I like to tell my clients that when you're drinking water during the day, try to drink about half your body weight in ounces of water. So I forget the conversion from ounces to grams, but bear with me. If you weigh like 200 pounds, then you should aim to drink about 100 ounces of water every day. And so, sorry guys, I didn't do the conversion earlier, so I'm not sure what it is, but Google it.
Yeah, I normally ask Suri.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that's a good rule of thumb to start off with. And then like if you're in really hot climates, like I know you guys are in the summer right now,
Yeah.
then and you're outside sweating or you're working out, you're sweating so much, or you're working outside, remember to replenish all of that liquid that you're sweating out through your body. So really be mindful of that. I've actually had a client before that just making that one swap of increasing his water content, he started losing weight. And the reason is because, like, I don't want to get too graphic, but your digestive system needs water in order for the waste products to be released from your body. And if you don't have enough water, you're going to hold onto those wastes. It's going to make you feel super uncomfortable. You'll probably feel just really lethargic. So just if you're trying to be healthier this year, I really first suggest just drink a lot more water and keep track of how much water you're drinking. So that was my long way of saying stay hydrated.
Actually, I just wanted to hop on with that. My 2 episodes before this was about the Thriving Singers Planner, which I created. And I did create a planner with the tracking of the water intake as well. And I'll just show you. Oh, this was my other day.
Yeah.
So I don't know if can you see a little bit?
See it. Yeah.
So here is the water tracker. So I didn't track the rest of it, but I did drink. I did drink a more more water. But yeah, I was just thinking, that makes a huge difference when you're tracking it.
It really does. It makes you be really mindful around it. And just like with everything, when you measure something, then you can manage it. If you never measure it, then you can't ever improve. So I think that it's so easy to just, instead of picking up a soda, just pick up another bottle of water, or, drink water instead of coffee. And I think that people will be amazed once they make that really simple change as to how effective it can be.
Yeah, huge change. And I was going to say something else and I forgot, but that's okay.
Okay.
I was going to say that you can download the planner if you want to track your water intake and also the food intake. And I'll put the link in the show notes. Yeah.
Awesome. Yes, that's very good. I love that you made that planner. That's going to be really helpful for people.
Well, I made it because I wanted to get back on track after my operation. And I thought, I think this is the way that I'm going to be able to keep track not only of my food intake, but my exercise, and also just building up my mindset again. Because after the operation, it kind of just, it was so hard. It was just really hard thinking, how am I going to do my gigs again? Because I had a vertical cut from above my belly button all the way down to the bikini line. So it was just building up the muscles again and getting back on track. So it was to help me, but then I thought, I might release it out and create a free download just to help other people start the new year afresh.
Yes, definitely. I love it.
Yeah.
So I had 2 more tips. Yeah. So my 4th tip is actually about snacks. And I love snacks. I always have snacks with me wherever I go. But also, to make it way easier and way healthier, I like to opt for what I like to call low or no prep snacks. So these are things that require very little or no interaction from you to get it ready. And so to give everyone an idea of things I'm talking about, I love to grab protein bars or granola bars that have a high protein content from the grocery store. They also have like prepackaged hummus and vegetables at the grocery store, or like, they have little trays that are like meat and cheese and crackers. These are all great things that you can grab and go wherever you may be. And this is so good because between meals, if you allow yourself to get too hungry, then once you get to that meal, you end up overeating. And so then you feel like really bloated or sluggish afterwards. And that's probably not the way that you want to feel before you go into a gig. So it's really great to make sure you're snacking consistently, like every 2 to 3 hours during the day, especially eating protein, which is my 5th tip. I think it's so easy to go for like a bag of chips or, something like that that's mostly carbohydrates. And I'm not like demonizing carbohydrates at all, but it's been scientifically proven that protein helps you feel more full than anything else. And oftentimes with snacks, they're mostly carbohydrates, which means that while it may make you feel full immediately, after a period of time, you're going to start feeling hungry again. So what helps is having a protein-based snack or a meal. So protein's just going to have the highest satiation factor, so it makes you feel really full for a long time. And it also gives you tons of energy. It keeps you, all of your cells functioning the way that it needs to. So I highly encourage people to just maybe even keep track of how much protein they're eating, and then also opting for more protein-rich snacks or meals to keep them going throughout the day.
Cool. And so what are your protein snacks, apart from the granola and the other bars that you have? What
Yes.
other go-to snacks do you like?
So yeah, one of the ones I actually had it right before we hopped on this call is a protein smoothie. So I have a bunch of smoothie recipes on my blog, which is nourishwithrenata.com. And I love smoothies because, first of all, it's really quick and easy to make. Second of all, I live in Texas, so it's usually really hot here.
Mm-hmm.
And smoothies are so good when it's hot because it really refreshes you. It gets a lot of nutrients into your body because not only do you have the really satisfying protein, but I also put fiber in there and greens in there, and then other like delicious fruit to make it really taste good. So I think it's just a one-stop shop for making sure you get tons of nutrients into your body and it tastes delicious. So that's one of the go-tos that I have every day. And I love the fact too that my kids really enjoy it. So don't just think that smoothies have to be for adults because you happen to add like spinach or some kind of greens to it. Once it's all blended up really well and it tastes really good, the kids are going to love it too.
Yeah, and I love the pineapple smoothie that we made together for one of my for my events. So that was
Yes,
good. What was it again? Pineapple. It had pineapple. Did it have apple?
it had pineapple, ginger,
Yep.
and kale, I think, or spinach.
Yeah, spinach. We use spinach. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was perfect. It was so
Yay!
good. Everyone loved it.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
Yeah. So, have you got? You said you have one more or two more?
Oh, those are all my tips.
That was all your tips. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. That's
You're
cool.
welcome.
No, I know that you've been like music's been a part of your life for a long time. Tell us about your singing. You've got such a great voice. You
Oh,
haven't
thank
shown
you.
anybody.
No,
Well,
I
not
am
as many people.
true. I am like notoriously shy about singing in front of other people. So, which is funny because just like you mentioned, music is a part of my family and has been forever. So I started off like at the tender age of 5 learning recorder. Like I'm sure everybody does that
Yes.
at school. So
Yes.
recorder, and then I started playing piano at 6. I started playing clarinet at like 11, played saxophone in my high school years in the jazz band, as well as doing singing. So I
Yeah.
started doing singing and doing, I was classically trained and then did like the exams and everything. But yeah, I'm actually really, funnily enough, shy about singing in front of other people. If I can help it, I won't do it. But I think what really gave me a lot of confidence was doing your course around singing.
You did such a good job. And even the singing challenge, I was like, my gosh, you can really sing. Everyone was like, me. I think I shared it. And then everybody was like, oh my goodness, how cool is her voice? Yeah.
Thank
So you
you.
should keep it up.
I am trying to keep it up. And then I think that I just need to get over my self-consciousness.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I guess I was listening to Amy Porterfield's podcast yesterday, and she was talking about how you have to get out of your own way, and
Yeah,
think that instead of thinking about how you're feeling, think about how it would be of service to other people.
true.
Yeah. So,
Mm.
but congratulations on doing the course, and you're always showing up, and you finished the course, and you you're very focused, and that's what I love about you,
Thank
especially
you.
with your lives and how you're showing up with everything in your business. So yeah,
Thank you so much. It's
great.
so kind of you.
Yeah, and I also had the honor of doing some breakthrough sessions with you, using neurolinguistic programming and timeline therapy, and it was such a pleasure to work with you because each week you would just do the work, and then you would show up every week, and you'd improve all the time, and yeah. So what was it? What did it feel like for you?
Well, going into it, I really didn't understand what NLP was. And so I was just excited to try something new, especially because we had developed such a great relationship and I trusted you. So I was like, okay, I'll try it out. Let me
Thank
see what
you.
it's like. But so going into it, I think that I was pretty open minded to see what would happen, which I think that going into anything, you need to be open minded in order
Mm,
to get the best experience from it. But one of the major things that it helped me with was um, kind of like how you mentioned before, just getting out of my own way. You have no idea like how many things you carry with you from childhood that are still impacting you as an adult. And so one of the great things was being able to recognize those situations that may have occurred that might have not been like major deals when you were a kid, but you still like carry remnants of
mm.
how you thought or how you felt during that time. And unless you really spend that time being self-aware or considering your past, you can't heal from it. And so that was my biggest breakthrough with you was, being able to recognize those things, heal from it, and then move forward. And it gave me such clarity as well. So it just became really crystal clear, obviously the things that were holding me back, but then also how do I want to move forward in a really like honest and intentional way. So I loved all of our sessions. I feel like everyone should do it, honestly. It's so good.
Oh, thanks, Renata.
You're
Well,
welcome.
you're always a star student, so thank you for allowing me to be part of your journey. And I've loved just watching you blossom, and just every single day you're doing something towards your business, and you're changing people's lives as well. So it's amazing.
Thank you.
And so I asked this question to all of our guests. What are your obsessions at the moment? What are you obsessed with?
Okay, so I'm so excited about this question because obviously I listened to your podcast, so I knew this one was coming up. But because we are talking about music and singing, I have to tell you, sometimes I go through these waves of when I start hearing someone and I just play them on repeat. So one of the artists that I'm currently listening to on repeat, you may have heard of her. Her name is Tori Kelly.
Oh,
Have
I
you heard
love
of her?
Tori Kelly. Yeah, she's
Oh my
coming to
gosh.
Sydney in April.
Oh, so you should probably go. Tell her I said
Yeah.
hi. No, I'm
Okay.
kidding. But I am obsessed with her voice. She has the most angelic voice. And not only that, she can do something that I aspire to be able to do better, which are crazy runs and trills. And she does them so effortlessly. And I just listened to her do a live performance, which, by the way, if you haven't listened to any of her live performances, do yourself a favor and just look it up on YouTube. But she did this performance recently on, I think it was the Stephen Colbert Show, and she
Uh-huh.
sang a song from her most recent album called, I mean, just the title of this alone is incredible. The title of the song is called "Sorry Would Go a Long Way." And so,
Oh,
like, just imagine like all the emotions from just that one line. But she sang
wow.
it, and she had these. I mean, the emotion was there, the
Mm.
trills and the runs were like perfect, spot on. Like no issues with intonation, no like self confidence issues at all. I'm just obsessed with her. I think she's amazing.
Yeah, I have a friend that is obsessed with her as well, and she was lucky enough to get invited to one of her, like it was just a pop-up kind of event that she ended up doing. And yeah, so she was actually on the podcast recently, not Tori Kelly, but my friend.
Oh, okay.
So
The next step is to get Tori Kelly on the
yeah.
podcast, obviously.
Yes, but it's so funny how you said that. There's this lady, she's a singer, and she's a vocal coach, in, where is she? I think she's in America somewhere, but she breaks down vocal licks for people. So as part of my recuperation and my recovery, I've been just doing like looking at her vocal licks and
Oh,
her one
wow.
of her and what the Christina Aguilera one, and there's one with a Tori Kelly one as well. So
Oh,
I
wow.
should send you that link. So I
Yeah,
use
please
that
do.
just to help with my hearing and yeah. So it's really cool. So I was just doing that the other day.
That's awesome. And that actually reminds me of something that was in your course that I found so like powerful is really being intentional around like your sound. And I've never heard anyone talk about it. Like I know that in your course you kind of go through who are your singing idols? Like what do you like about how they sound? You know, do you want to incorporate that into your sound or, you know, do you have your own sound that's different but you take inspiration from other people? And I love the idea of like being able to kind of witness people, like maybe whether they be famous or not, and see like what do you like that you want to be inspired by when it comes to your own sound. So I thought that was so cool how you had that in your course.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I like studying the sounds and how sounds are created and how people manipulate the mouth and and create
Yeah.
different sounds. And I think that's what Filipino singers are really good at. That's why you see, them on Australia's Got Talent or America's Got Talent, and or
Yes.
they love to study the sound
Yeah.
and how to make that sound and how to sound like the singer. But then there's a point where, okay, now how are you going to be an artist? How are you going
Right.
to be your own artist and how are you going to create your own signature sound? So yeah, it's that's the next step, the next kind
Wow.
of evolution after that. But yeah, that's the stepping stone.
Yeah, that's so cool. So yeah, I'm obsessed with Tori Kelly. And literally before this, I was listening to her while I was cooking because I was cooking dinner. And I'm like seriously like singing, trying to practice those runs.
Oh, there's
There's
so
so
many
many.
notes.
I know, and I have no idea how she does it. Like she must be like genetically enhanced or something because it's just flawless.
Yeah, yeah, it's just perfect.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. Like are you listening to her album or are you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you
Mhm.
notice, listen to how she's doing those vocal licks, and you'll notice that she's probably put it in all her other songs, but in different ways.
Right. Yeah. There's
Yeah,
almost like a pattern of notes that kind of like the key might change, but you have like the same pattern.
yeah, yeah, the same pattern or a different word.
Right.
Or instead of
Exactly.
a O, it's a R or a
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, different vowel. So that's awesome. I love that you love Tori Kelly. She's amazing.
Yeah. She is. Tori, if you're listening, please be friends with us. Okay.
Yeah. So tell us what's one song that changed your life?
Oh, this is such a good question. Okay. So I remember being really young, probably like 7 or 8 years old, and my family, it's kind of funny. A lot of my family is in Australia. And so we would always travel to see my grandmother in Australia over the summer holidays. And we would sit kind of like in her living room and we would listen to music on the radio. But one of the most memorable moments was sitting there and listening to Mariah Carey. And we had like the
Oh,
cassette tape of her live at MTV, like unplugged special. Like this is
oh
going back in
wow.
the day. And I'm pretty sure like one of the songs that stands out to me is Hero. Do you remember that
Oh, I
song?
love that song. That was my go-to Talent Quest song.
Was it really?
Yes. I sang
Oh
it
my gosh.
every performance.
But I think that being kind of like exposed is what I want to say. But really, I mean, listening to Mariah Carey from a
Mhm.
really young age made me realize that singing could be so expansive. Like obviously, her vocal range is like 8 octaves or something crazy like that.
Mm, mm.
And she utilizes the really low register and the really
Yeah.
high register in just incredible ways. And so that opened my mind to seeing like singing is not just like these set of notes right in front of you. It's up and down and, you know, emotive and fluid and all these amazing things. And I think that it just showed me what artistry and musicality was.
Yeah, she was pretty amazing. I do
Yeah.
remember the very first time I heard her, and she's like, in the film clip of her, I think it was Vision of Love when she's walking on the
Oh,
beach,
yeah.
and it's like, who is this girl? And then I remember that rivalry between Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston. Like people made that rivalry because they
Yes.
were like,
Yes.
oh, she's trying to copy Whitney Houston, but she's never gonna be like Whitney.
Yes. I remember that. Oh my gosh. Wow.
But she was so good. She was so amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
and did you end up singing that song, or did you end up taking it on and trying to work out how to sing the song, or
Actually, no. I just remember singing along to the cassette tape. And like we would always sing in the car or like sing at home when the radio was on, and we would just do that all the time. So I never really like, I think it's so interesting how detailed you are around studying music and studying the artists and how they do things, but I never sat down to do that. I just remember it being one of the first songs that I had like a recollection of,
yeah.
and
Mhm.
and just like remembering just the joy of hearing it.
Yeah. So much joy.
Yeah, I should listen to that again. That's going to be my next album on repeat.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a singer called Diana Ruvos. She won The Voice last year. I think it was last year. Yeah. Um, the Australian Voice, and she took that song Vision of Love and she just made it her own. But she was so amazing. She did that whistle tone and everything,
Oh,
and
wow. Oh man, I
yeah,
gotta look that up.
yeah, she's amazing. So yeah, she was just recently, I think she tried out to do the uh what do you call that vision, what's that vision in Eurovision.
Oh, Eurovision.
Oh my god, my
The name
brain,
is on the tip of my tongue. Yeah.
it's in Europe. Vision. Anyway, yeah, so she they were choosing an Australian artist to represent um Australia in Eurovision, but unfortunately she didn't make it, and I don't know why. But she's just got an amazing voice. You'll have to check her out. I'll send you the link as well.
Okay, thank you.
So the name of this podcast is called One Voice Can Change the World, and when I offer that to you, what does it mean to you?
So I think that this is, first of all, such a great question. But second of all, I think to me, what it really means is that your voice can change the world. And when I think about that, I think about how so many times we don't own our own story. Like we kind of forget about parts of it, or like we are ashamed or embarrassed, or, any myriad of really negative emotions about things that have happened to us, and we hide it away instead of like being vulnerable, talking to people about the things that have challenged us, and as well as the things that have gone well. And when you do that, I think that you build such great relationships with the people around you. You show that you are open and you can trust others, and most of all that you can own your own story, so much so that you can actually share it with others. And what's amazing about that is it gives other people the confidence to share their story too, because they recognize parts of themselves in your story, and they think, you know what, if Tina can share, her story, then I can too, because people need to hear these stories. People need to see that there are others in the world that have gone through similar trials or similar emotions, or that they're not alone. And so when I think about One Voice Can Change the World, I think about my story or your story or anybody's story could be that one story that helps someone change how they live the rest of their lives.
Oh, I love that. That's the
Thank you.
first one that I've like, because I've asked this question to everybody, so that was really meaningful, and that's a different perspective that I've heard. Yeah, so thank you for that. I love it.
You're welcome.
So what? Tell it. Yeah. Well, what about you? What do you feel like you've held back from people, or you didn't want to share? Um, that's helped you now that you're owning it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, obviously, other than hiding away singing by myself, I think it's just like, I think so often I only show, like, for instance, on social media, I only show what's working out great. And today's live is an excellent example of, like, things didn't go perfectly to plan. Like, my son was supposed to be playing upstairs, and instead he came down and asked me a million questions live on Facebook.
Oh.
But I think that everyone needs to see that life isn't about like a highlight reel anymore. There's way more, it's way more interesting to see people as they really are. And our right now, because of social media, because we have so much like digital connectivity to everything, when we see people being real and we see people, just owning their truth and owning that, not every day is amazing and some days are going to be hard. But the point is to show that you can get out of that. Like, you can really build off of these bad experiences and, use it as a reminder or use it as your stepping stone to something else. And also it can be a great way to, obviously be authentic and real, but also to be humorous. Like last week I shared maybe it was 2 weeks ago, I shared a video. And for everyone that doesn't know, I have 3 kids. One of them goes to school and the other 2 stay home with me during the day. And so we usually go to school and drop the oldest kid off and pick her up in the afternoon as well. And we walk both ways. So one of the kids, actually, I think it was Dean, the one that was in the live today as well. He did not want to get up from his nap. And he literally was so mad and tired and didn't want to walk to school that he scream cried the entire walk to school, which is like a 10-minute walk. And like, I'm not talking about like, oh no, I'm so sad. Like, he was scream crying. And I think anyone who's a parent will absolutely understand what I mean when I say scream crying. But I'm sure that people thought I was kidnapping him because he was scream crying the entire way. But the point of this story is to show that not everything is like peaches and roses and sunshine and rainbows. Like, life is going to be difficult. And in fact, being able to show it and be vulnerable about it can actually help with connection to other people so that you don't feel like you're alone. You don't feel like you're isolated, and that we're actually going through life together.
Yeah. Yes. I can totally relate to that because Christian was very very active when he was younger. So it was like you could see that stares would come from other parents thinking, can you control your child? And then when you see it now that he's 13 and I look back and I see a child doing that, what he used to do, I just go, we just smile. Yeah. We understand.
Yeah.
Just wait a few more years.
I have to tell you this.
Everything will settle.
Yeah, that's so true. I have to tell you this other story that I heard because I think it is hilarious. And oh my gosh, I think you're going to get a kick out of it. So my friend Jody was telling me that another mother friend of hers was in the grocery store, and she was like getting her groceries when she saw a mother that had a small child with her in like the grocery cart. And this little girl in the grocery cart was having a full-on tantrum. I mean, like screaming and crying just the whole time. But this girl's mother was so calm. She just kept saying, Janie, it's okay, just a few more minutes. And she just kept repeating this in, such a calm tone, like really balanced and like not getting at all disturbed by, this little girl that was clearly having a fit. So they get to the checkout line, and the lady, I think it was the cashier, asks, "Oh, you're being so good. How old is Janie?" The little, like referring to the little girl in the shopping cart that was crying. And the mother of the little girl was like, "Oh, no, she's not Janie. I'm Janie."
That's so funny. That's hilarious. That's so good.
So then when my son was having the tantrum on the way to school, that's what I kept thinking to myself, which maybe made it go by faster. So I didn't feel like so stressed out about the situation, but just reminding myself, it's okay, Renata, just a few more minutes.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. That was amazing.
You're welcome.
So I just want to say thank you again for being part of the podcast. the tips that you've shared are amazing. And I really encourage people to go and check out your blog. And you're always showing up on social media. You're always on IG sharing your tips, your amazing tips and your beautiful recipes. And I love your nut recipe as well. Yeah, you got to check out all all of Renata's recipes. They're very good. But yeah, tell us how we can find you, or if you want to
Yeah.
share any links.
Yeah, definitely. So please head over to nourishwithrenata.com. So that is NOURISHWITHRENATA.com. And sign up for my newsletter. Every week I have new recipes that get sent straight to you, so you don't need to worry about getting new inspiration every week for healthy recipes. So that's the first place to find me, as well as on social media. So I love Instagram. I'm at nourish_with_Renata. I'm also on Facebook. You can search for Nourish with Renata. And I have my Facebook group too, which is what we were talking about earlier with the live cooking show. So I'll be doing weekly live cooking shows at the Get Nourished with Renata Facebook group, which is like, you can just search for it. It's completely free. I'm just sharing with you different ways to cook and to incorporate healthy alternatives into your food. And yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. Any links that you want to share as well, like in terms of, do you still have any of your free downloads that you want to share?
I do, yeah. So I have an ebook of 5 recipes, and it's actually called Secretly Healthy Sweet Treats. So we all love desserts, or at least most of us do. I especially do. And so I wanted to come up with, yeah, I wanted to come up with really delicious sweet treats or desserts that actually have a healthy spin on them, but don't taste, disgusting, basically.
Yeah.
So I created these 5 recipes and I put them into an ebook that you can download for free at nourishwithrenata.com. And if you look at the top menu bar, there is a link there a button there that says free ebook, and that's how you can get it.
Is that the one with the nuts, the nut recipe?
No, that nut recipe. So she's talking about the
Sorry.
roasted nuts.
The roasted nuts, yeah.
Which is really good, by the way. But that's actually on the blog. So if you go to the blog and just search for roasted nuts, there's going to be a couple of different recipes there. Mm-hmm. And I think the one that you liked the best was the one with rosemary and maple and like a little bit of spice from a chili powder. But I also have like a sriracha roasted nut recipe on there too. So that one's really good.
Yeah, I'm so happy for you, and you're doing amazing things, Renata. Thank you for helping, the people who are listening, who are also busy. And I know a lot of singers and performers listen to this podcast. So yeah, getting their meal prep done is so important, so that we can feel revitalized for the whole week, and also, yeah, just be on top of everything.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. Well, we'll see you next time. And thank you for being part of the show again.
You're welcome.
Wasn't Renata amazing? I hope you enjoyed that episode as much as I loved having Renata on the show. And don't forget to visit her website, nourishwithrenata.com. And she's got amazing and wonderful resources there. Also, I've added some links to a free masterclass for singers. And be safe, be well, and take care of each other. Bye for now. From braces and pigtails to jewels and extensions, from innocence and wonder to questions and comprehensions, your license to drive won't give you the right for recklessness and selfish intentions. Journey, 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 gently. Journey, 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 safely. Take your time, go slow in coming home. This is your path, a road being built to streets that are travelers all through countryside with even days of delay and roundabout ways. Just find a place where you want to stay. Journey, 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 gently. Journey, 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 safely. There's no